On the surface, diesel and kerosene seem like close cousins in the world of fuel. Both are distilled from the same crude oil, and both power essential parts of our daily lives. But treating them as interchangeable is a mistake, one that can lead to engine damage, poor performance, or even safety hazards. Let's break down what separates these two essential fuels, moving beyond the simple fact that they both burn and into the specifics of why you choose one over the other. Composition and properties. Here's what matters most. Diesel and kerosene are born at different stages of the oil refining process. Imagine a tall distillation tower where crude oil is heated. Lighter, more volatile compounds rise to the top, while heavier ones stay near the bottom. Kerosene is drawn off higher up than diesel, meaning it's composed of smaller, lighter hydrocarbon molecules. Think of it like sorting gravel. Kerosene is the finer material, while diesel is the heavier, chunkier stone. This fundamental difference in molecular weight is the source of all their other distinct characteristics. This chemical distinction creates very different physical products. Kerosene is a lighter, thinner fluid that is typically clear or pale yellow, and it has a relatively mild, oily smell. Diesel, on the other hand, is a heavier, more viscous, and oilier fuel. It often has a darker color, and in many places it's dyed red for off-road or agricultural use to signify a different tax status. Its smell is much more pungent and potent, a characteristic familiar to anyone who has stood at a truck stop. So even before you burn them, their look, feel, and smell tell you they are built for different purposes. Energy content and power. The bottom line is that diesel packs more of a punch. Because its hydrocarbon molecules are larger and denser, a gallon of diesel contains more energy, measured in British thermal units, BTUs, than a gallon of kerosene. This higher energy density is not just a trivial fact. It's the primary reason diesel is the undisputed king of the transportation industry. For a semi-truck hauling 40 tons of cargo, or a generator that needs to power a hospital during an outage, that extra energy translates directly into more power, greater torque, and better fuel efficiency. This is also why you don't simply substitute kerosene into an engine that demands diesel. While a diesel engine might run on kerosene, it will experience a noticeable drop in power and performance because the fuel itself contains less potential energy. Let me explain further. Running an engine on a less energy-dense fuel is like trying to do a hard day's labor on a meager diet. The work might get done, but it will be a struggle, and the output will suffer. Cold weather performance. This is the one area where kerosene has a clear and decisive advantage. Diesel's heavier composition includes paraffin waxes, which are great for energy content, but terrible in the cold. As temperatures drop, these waxes begin to crystallize and solidify, turning the fuel from a free-flowing liquid into a thick, cloudy sludge. This phenomenon, known as gelling, will clog fuel filters and lines, effectively starving the engine of fuel and making it impossible to start. It's a massive problem in any region with harsh winters. Kerosene, being a more refined fuel with fewer heavy waxes, has a much lower freezing point. It remains liquid and flows freely at temperatures where diesel would have long since turned to gel. This is why kerosene is a critical component of winter diesel blends. Fuel suppliers will mix a certain percentage of kerosene or a similar fuel called number 1 diesel with standard number 2 diesel. This blend lowers the overall gelling point of the fuel, ensuring engines can start and run reliably on the coldest days. Emissions and cleanliness. When it comes to the cleanliness of the burn, kerosene wins hands down. Its smaller, simpler hydrocarbon molecules combust more completely and efficiently than the complex molecules in diesel. The result is significantly less soot, ash, and particulate matter. This is not just about environmental friendliness. It has profound practical implications for the equipment it's used in. A cleaner burn means fewer deposits building up on burner components, nozzles, and heat exchangers. This is a critical factor for indoor heating applications. Using kerosene in a space heater or a home furnace means better air quality and a lower risk of harmful emissions like carbon monoxide, assuming the appliance is properly maintained and ventilated. Diesel, in contrast, produces a dirtier burn with more visible smoke and soot. This is generally acceptable for a truck engine with a complex exhaust and emissions control system operating outdoors, but it would be unsuitable and unsafe for a portable heater used inside a workshop or garage. The cleaner nature of kerosene is one of its primary selling points for any application outside of a traditional diesel engine. Typical applications. The differences in their properties naturally lead them to very different jobs. Diesel is the workhorse fuel, the lifeblood of commerce and industry. Its high energy density and lubricity make it the only choice for modern, high-compression diesel engines. You'll find it powering semi-trucks, buses, trains, cargo ships, tractors, construction equipment, and large-scale industrial generators. In all these applications, the goal is maximum power, torque, and efficiency to move heavy loads or perform difficult work, and diesel delivers exactly that. Kerosene is more of a specialist. Its clean-burning nature and excellent cold-weather performance make it the ideal fuel for home heating oil furnaces and portable space heaters. It's also still used in lamps for off-grid lighting in some parts of the world. But its most high-profile role is as the primary component of jet fuel. Jet engines require a fuel that is extremely stable, burns cleanly and consistently, and performs reliably at the freezing temperatures found at high altitudes. Kerosene fits that bill perfectly, making modern air travel possible. Equipment compatibility. Let me be perfectly clear. You cannot treat these fuels as interchangeable without risking serious damage to your equipment. Putting kerosene in a modern diesel engine is a particularly bad idea. The reason is lubricity. Diesel fuel is oily and acts as a lubricant for the high-precision components in a fuel system, like the high-pressure fuel pump and injectors. Kerosene is a dry fuel with almost no lubricating properties. Running it in a diesel engine will starve these parts of lubrication, leading to rapid wear and catastrophic, expensive failure. The reverse is also true. You should never use diesel fuel in an appliance designed for kerosene, such as a portable heater or a lamp. The burner and wick in a kerosene appliance are designed for its specific viscosity and clean burning properties. Attempting to burn thicker, dirtier diesel will clog the wick, produce copious amounts of black smoke and soot, create a dangerous fire hazard, and release harmful levels of carbon monoxide. Cost and availability. Practicality and economics also play a huge role. Diesel fuel is a cornerstone of the global economy, and as such, it is produced in massive quantities and is widely available at nearly every gas station around the world. This scale of production and distribution generally makes it less expensive than more specialized fuels. Kerosene is a different story. While it's not a rare product, it's more of a niche or specialty item compared to diesel. You can find it, but you have to look for it at specific fuel suppliers, hardware stores, or at a dedicated pump at some larger service stations. Because it requires a higher degree of refinement and is produced in lower volumes, kerosene is almost always more expensive than diesel fuel. The price premium can fluctuate, but you can typically expect to pay significantly more per gallon for kerosene, a cost that is justified by its specific benefits for heating and other specialty applications. Standards and terminology. To add a layer of official distinction, these fuels are governed by different technical standards. In the United States, on-road diesel fuel must meet the specifications of ASTM D975, which covers grades like number 1 and number 2 diesel. Kerosene, on the other hand, is typically governed by a separate standard, ASTM D3699. While a particular batch of fuel might sometimes meet the specs for both kerosene and number 1 diesel, the standards themselves are different, reinforcing that they are officially distinct products. This brings up the common point of confusion between kerosene and number 1 diesel. Number 1 diesel is a lighter, more volatile grade than the standard number 2 diesel, and it shares many properties with kerosene, including excellent cold weather performance. The terms are often used interchangeably in the context of winter blending, but they are not identical. The bottom line is that both serve as anti-gel additives for regular diesel, and your winter fuel is likely a blend containing one of them. Safety and handling. Both diesel and kerosene must be handled with the respect due to any flammable liquid, but their volatility and burn characteristics create slightly different safety profiles. Both are considerably safer to handle than gasoline, which has a much lower flash point and vaporizes easily, creating an explosive risk. Between the two, kerosene is often considered safer for indoor heating applications precisely because its cleaner burn produces fewer harmful byproducts like carbon monoxide, provided the heater is in good working order and properly ventilated. In terms of spills, diesel's heavier, oilier nature makes it messier. A diesel spill is slower to evaporate and leaves behind a persistent, slippery residue that is difficult to clean up. Kerosene, being lighter, will evaporate more quickly, though it still requires a thorough cleanup. For both fuels, proper storage in approved containers away from ignition sources is paramount. Final word. So, after all that, what's the final verdict? It's clear that this isn't a case of one fuel being universally better than the other. It's about fitness for purpose. It's about choosing the right tool for the job at hand. Thinking of them as different tools designed for completely different tasks is the smartest way to approach it. Use diesel where you need power and torque. Use kerosene where you need a clean, stable burn and low-temperature performance. If you respect their differences and use each in its proper context, you'll get the performance, efficiency, and safety you expect. If you try to swap them, you're just setting yourself up for failure.